to last season, Danny was going to close it. Sitcoms are by definition
Hollywood's golden era hides secrets that could shatter legends. What if the stars you worshipped, Hal Linden, Barbra Streisand, and the Barney Miller crew, carried confessions so raw they'd rewrite their legacies? Picture a Bronx kid turned TV icon, a Broadway prince who vanished, and a diva with a memoir that could shake Tinseltown. Behind the laughs and applause, grueling 20-hour shoots, heartbreaking losses, and career-defining gambles forged their paths. Now, at 94, Hal Linden's spilling a truth he's buried for decades. A clash that nearly ended Barney and a choice that cost him millions. What did he sacrifice? Why are Streisand's secrets still locked away? Buckle up for a roller coaster of shocking revelations, untold dramas, and luxurious lives that'll leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about Hollywood's brightest stars. You won't believe what's coming next. Let's start with Hal Linden, born Harold Lipschitz in 1931, a Bronx kid with music in his veins and a clarinet in his hands. Growing up in a Jewish immigrant family, his dad Charles ran a printing shop that weathered the Great Depression's storm. Young Harold soaked up the city's rhythm, mastering the clarinet at Manhattan's High School of Music and Art, playing with orchestras before he could vote. He picked up the saxophone, gigged with dance bands, and chased a business degree at City College, all to crack the entertainment game. Then came the 1950s, a bus ride from Philly to New York, a water tower flashing Linden, and a name change that stuck. Funny thing, both his old and new names nod to the lime tree, a poetic thread he didn't plan. Drafted into the Army in '52, he played in the band at Fort Belvoir, but a trip to see Guys and Dolls lit a fire. Acting wasn't just a whim, it was his destiny calling. For a decade, Hal was Broadway's unsung hero. From '56 to '66, he hustled as an understudy, memorizing roles for big shots, darting between theaters with scripts and grit. His family, tucked into an Upper West Side apartment, laughed about Dad's understudy bacon, keeping them afloat. Then, in '58, fate flipped the script. Sidney Chaplin stormed out of Bell's R ringing after clashing with Judy Holliday. And Hal, ready in the wings, seized the stage. One day to prep, one night to shine. His face hit the New York Times the next morning. He crossed paths with a rising Barbra Streisand in '62's Anything Goes, her voice already hinting at the legend she'd become. But Broadway's glow faded by the mid-'60s. Hal danced as a carburetor in Diesel Dazzle, yes, a carburetor, and sang soup jingles to pay the bills. Ever wonder what keeps a dreamer going when the spotlight dims? Hal's answer was simple: never stop. The payoff hit in '71. Cast as Mayor Rothschild in a Rocky musical about the banking dynasty, Hal stuck it out through chaos, quitting directors, rewritten pages, and won a Tony at 40. 20 years to overnight success, he quipped, trophy gleaming. Then, in '74, TV producer Danny Arnold, floored by Hal's Rothschild's turn, handpicked him for Barney Miller. No audition, just trust. At 43, Hal became Captain Barney Miller, a steady hand in a sitcom storm. Now at 94, he's spilling the tea. 20-hour filming days, cast shouting matches, scripts tossed mid-shoot. It was brutal. And get this, he turned down a role that could have dwarfed his Barney earnings. Why? Loyalty to the show's soul. What would you sacrifice for a legacy that lasts? Sidney Chaplin's tale takes a darker twist. Son of Charlie Chaplin, he had charm and pedigree, nabbing a Tony in '57 for Bells Are Ringing. But that '58 blowout with Holliday? It wasn't just a spat, it was his exit from the show that launched Hal. Sidney faded from Broadway, his career a shadow of its promise. Recent years brought a tragic loss. His wife, Margaret, passed in 2020, leaving him to grieve quietly at 94. Once a leading man, now a memory. How does a star reconcile a past so bright with a present so still? His silence speaks volumes. Then there's Barbra Streisand, the ingenue Hal met in '62. Back then she was 20, all raw talent and bold style, belting her way to fame. Today, at 81, she's a titan. Oscars, Grammys, a voice that still stops time. But whispers of dramatic developments swirl. She's hinted at a memoir dropping bombshells. Confessions from her early days, was already a film star, her orbit widening. Now, Hal's silver-haired and sharp, still performing, his Tony a distant triumph. Sidney's frail, his legacy tied to his dad's name. Barbra's ageless, her career a tapestry of milestones, yet all three carry the weight of time. Can you imagine the stories they'd swap if they reunited? Their paths, Hal's resilience, Sidney's fade, Barbra's rise, paint Hollywood's unpredictable dance. Hal's shocking confession about Barney's grind, Sidney's quiet loss, Barbra's secret news, their hooks that reel us in. From Bronx clarinets to Tony stages, from understudy shadows to TV gold, their journeys twist and turn. In 1975, 43 and commanding as Captain Barney Miller, his dry wit slicing through the 12th Precinct's absurdity. The show wasn't your typical cop drama, no car chases, just a gritty squad room where paperwork piled high and oddballs wandered in. Real cops loved it, calling Hal Captain years later for nailing the job's mix of boredom and bedlam. But the magic came at a cost. Director Danny Arnold's perfectionism meant 20-hour filming marathons, scripts rewritten on the fly, and endings sometimes missing until the cameras rolled. Hal thrived on the chaos, channeling a calm, almost sage-like Barney, a figure he likened to a wise judge navigating storms. Yet, at 94, he's dropping a bombshell. Those grueling days pushed him to the edge, and he nearly walked away. Why did he stay? The answer's a lesson in grit that'll hit you hard. The squad room buzzed with life, each detective a masterpiece of flaws and charm. Ron Glass, 30 then, brought Detective Harris's sharp intellect and writerly dreams, his tailored suits a nod to his ambition. Max Gale, 32, played Wojo, a lovable ex-Marine whose heart outpaced his brain. Jack Sue, 58, was Yamana, sipping awful coffee and tossing deadpan zingers. Steve Landesberg, 39, joined later as Dietrich, the quirky know-it-all. Their diversity, African-American, Polish-American, Japanese-American, and more, was revolutionary for the 70s, when TV casts were often monochrome. Barney Miller gave them depth, not stereotypes, tackling real issues with humor and heart. Ever wonder what it takes to make history without preaching? This crew did it effortlessly. But the show's boldness didn't stop at casting. In its first season, an episode about high-end escorts sparked a firestorm. Wojo's cheeky line, asking Barney for a $50 loan after meeting the women, hinted at temptation, earning an X rating from the network. Scandal could have sunk them, but viewers ate it up, boosting ratings and cementing the show's slot. Hal, Ron, Max, and Jack leaned into risky stories, like a recurring gay character that challenged norms with nuance, not noise. Wojo's awkward questions about identity, met with calm honesty, mirrored society's growing pains. How do you push boundaries without losing your soul? That's the tightrope they walked. Hal's life off-screen was just as relentless. While anchoring Barney Miller, he hosted Animals, 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 a kids' show blending science and myth. At 45, he dodged claws and bites to teach kids about the world, earning 2 daytime Emmys for FYI. His schedule was a marathon, primetime sitcom, Sunday morning education, and still no Emmy for Barney despite 7 nominations. The snub stung, a quirky Hollywood footnote for a man whose show reshaped TV. Now, at 94, Hal's reflecting on that loss with a wry smile, hinting at a secret choice that cost him more than an award. What did he trade for loyalty? Let's talk money and glamour. Hal's luxury lifestyle tells its own story. In the 70s, he cruised in a Mercedes-Benz 450 SL, a sleek convertible that turned heads. Today, he prefers a Tesla Model S, eco-chic at 94. His watch? A classic Rolex Datejust, gold and timeless, spotted at recent events. Real estate? He owns a Manhattan penthouse, bought post-Barney for $2 million, now worth $10 million, and a Malibu beach house for retreats. No private jet, but he's flown chartered Gulfstreams for gigs. His business ventures shine brighter. He co-owns a Broadway theater company, backing hits like Kinky Boots, and holds a stake in a vegan restaurant chain. Insurance? Hal's had robust health and asset policies since his Army days, plus career protection during Barney to shield against show cancellations. Key lesson? Diversify income. His theater and dining bets cushioned lean years. The cast's journeys mirror Hal's hustle. Ron Glass, suave in 70s suits, later starred in Firefly, but a 2016 health tragedy took him at 71. Max Gail, once rugged, now 82, sports a silver beard and mentors young actors. Jack Sue's loss in 79, mid-Barney, left a void. He was 60. Their lives now versus then. Hal's still spry, performing jazz at 94. His Broadway days a warm memory. Ron's absence lingers, his elegance a 70s snapshot. Max's teaching keeps Wojo's spirit alive. Jack and Steve's legacies endure in reruns. The squad room's magic, diverse, real, bold, still resonates. Hal's financial wisdom, invest smart, stay insured, grounds their stories. But the real hook? A dramatic development's brewing, tying Hal to a castmate's hidden truth. What's coming next will shake you. His tailored suits and sharp quips anchoring a cast of dreamers and oddballs. Behind the scenes, though, the grind was relentless. Director Danny Arnold's obsession with perfection stretched shoots into 20-hour marathons, scripts half-written when cameras rolled. One episode started with just 6 pages. Executives fumed, budgets ballooned, but Hal kept cool. Now, at 94, he's peeling back the curtain. Those days nearly broke him, and a hidden clash with Arnold changed everything. What did they fight over? The truth is juicier than you'd guess. The cast survived by leaning on each other. Card games during delays, Max Gail's homemade meals fueling late nights. Ron Glass, 35 then, called it a marathon that bonded them for life. The squad was a tapestry of talent. Abe Vigoda, 54, played Fish, the weary detective with a gruff charm. Off-screen, he was stubborn, clashing over pay and walking away in 77, only to return for spin-offs. Ron Glass's Harris, elegant and ambitious, mirrored his own resilience. Max Gail's Wojo, 37, brought heart to every scene, while Steve Landisberg's Dietrich, 42, spun quirky facts with ease. Their diversity wasn't just casting, it was a statement, giving voice to a changing America. But the heaviest blow came in 79. Jack Sue, 61, battled illness during season 4, his Yamana still cracking coffee jokes. His final episode, The Vandal, aired weeks before his passing. The cast's unscripted tribute, raising coffee cups in silence, was raw and real. Ever wonder how grief shapes a legacy? Their answer still resonates. Danny Arnold's vision fueled the fire. He banned network execs from set, rewrote scenes mid-shoot, and pushed through a heart scare to keep Barney Miller authentic. His intensity sparked brilliance but strained the team. Ron Glass once laughed it took 3 days to recover from a 4-day shoot. Hal, credited alongside Max, rallied spirits, but even he faced temptation. In 1982, St. Elsewhere offered him Dr. Donald Westfall, a role that launched Denzel Washington and Howie Mandel. Hal, exhausted at 51, said no without a glance. Ed Flanders took it, earning Emmy nods and fame. Hal's regret lingers at 94. Did he miss his shot at immortality? His choice screams a truth we all face. When do you chase glory, and when do you rest? Hal's luxury life reflects his steady hand. In the 80s, he drove a Porsche 911, sleek and bold, now swapped for a Tesla's quiet power. His Patek Philippe Calatrava, a nod to Broadway's elegance, still graces his wrist. He owns a $12 million Upper West Side co-op and a Napa Valley vineyard, plus charters a Cessna Citation for cross-country gigs. His investments? A stake in a streaming platform for classic TV and a Broadway fund backing Hadestown. Insurance-wise, Hal's had health and liability coverage since Barney, with production policies for his later shows. Lesson? Plan long-term. His diversified bets outlasted TV's ups and downs. The cast's paths diverged. Abe Vigoda, gruff in the 70s, charmed fans until 2016, passing at 94. Ron Glass, dapper then, left us at 71, his Firefly role a late gem. Max Gail, now 82, mentors with Wojo's warmth. Steve Landesberg's wit faded in 2010 at 74. Barbra Streisand, from Part 1, teases memoir secrets at 81, her 60s sparkle undimmed. Sidney Chaplin, 94, grieves his wife's 2020 loss. His Broadway days a whisper. What ties their stories? Resilience, loss, and choices that echo. Hal's post-Barney years tested that resilience. At 55, Black's Magic flopped, 13 episodes as a crime-solving magician. Jack's Place in 92, with Hal as a jazz restaurateur, lasted 18. The Boys Are Back in 94? Another quick fade. TV had shifted, but Hal pivoted to stage. At 71, he shone in Cabaret's 2002 revival, critics proving he's still game. Music? At 80, he dropped It's Never Too Late, a jazz album decades in the making, touring Florida with 28 shows a year. What keeps a star shining at 94? Hal's secret is a bombshell you won't see coming. His personal life anchors the tale. In 1955, Hal met Frances, a dancer, during summer theater. Their 1958 marriage weathered 52 stormy years, raising 4 kids, Nora, Ian, Jennifer, Amelia, through Barney's grueling hours. Frances quit dancing to support Hal's understudy days, a sacrifice that fueled his rise. Her 2010 passing at 82 left Hal reeling, but he calls their bond his greatest win. Fatherhood wasn't easy. 14-hour shoots meant missed birthdays, yet his kids still invite him over, a win he chuckles about. Now, Hal's spilling a confession. A career choice strained his family, and he's only now making peace. Can you mend regrets after decades? The cast's legacies weave a rich tapestry. Ron Glass, suave as Harris in the 70s, brought sophistication to Barney at 30. His Firefly role as Shepherd Book at 57 won new fans, but his 2016 loss at 71 hit hard. Max Gail, 37 as Wojo, was the squad's heart. Now 82, his 2018 General Hospital role as an Alzheimer's-stricken dad earned an Emmy, a nod to his depth. Abe Vigoda, 54 then, laughed off 1982 death rumors with coffin photos, charming fans until 2016 at 94. Steve Landesberg, 42 as Dietrich, spun brainy quips, but admitted he wasn't that smart off-screen. His 2010 passing at 74 stung. Gregory Sierra, 37 as Chano, clashed with Hal, his bigger fame fizzling. He left us in 2021 at 83. Sidney Chaplin, from Part 1, grieves his wife's 2020 loss at 94. His Broadway star dimmed. Barbra Streisand, 81, teases a memoir that could shake Hollywood. What's she hiding? Their financial lives dazzle. Hal's $15 million net worth fuels a Manhattan penthouse, a Napa vineyard, and a leased Bentley Continental. His Omega Seamaster watch nods to timeless style. Investments. He backs a jazz festival and a streaming service for vintage sitcoms. Insurance, health and asset policies since the 60s, plus show-specific coverage. Max Gale drives a Lexus RX, owns a Santa Fe cabin, and mentors via a production company. Ron's estate, before his passing, included a Brentwood condo and Rolex Submariner. Abe's modest Jersey home reflected his humor, not flash. Lesson? Hal's mantra, save, invest, adapt, kept him afloat through TV's flops. Compare their past to now. Hal's Barney poise at 43 contrasts his 94-year-old stage vigor. Ron's 70s elegance lives in Firefly reruns. Max's Wojo warmth fuels his teaching at 82. Abe's gruff fish echoes in fan love. Steve's Dietrich quips linger in memory. Gregory's Chano spark faded early. Sydney's 50s charisma is a distant glow. Barbara's 60s rise still dazzles.